Now let's look at this from a graphical perspective. Okay, graphical perspective. About graphical perspective, first we'll go with inelastic demand. Okay, what did we say about inelastic demand was inelastic demand मा चाहिँ के भन्यो भन्दाखेरि हामीले जब price change हुँदैछ, whatever percentage may be the price change, your quantity change is not at all, there is no change in quantity demanded. Okay, so your graph is going to look somewhat like this. This is your quantity demanded, this is your price, and it's going to be a vertical, right? Perfectly inelastic demand. Inelastic भन्नु बित्तिकै your quantity demanded does not change at all. Okay, so this prices are increasing, but your quantity demanded is still at Q1. Cool. This is the first one. Okay, what will do? 1 2 3 4 5 ल त्यो भयो perfectly inelastic demand है. Then आउँछ inelastic demand. So inelastic demand मा हामीले के भन्यो? We said percentage change in quantity demanded is less than the percentage change in prices. Then मात्रै त हाम्रो ED value, elasticity of value less than 1 आउँछ. Why? Because हाम्रो numerator मा के छ? Numerator यो छ, denominator, right? When your numerator becomes smaller than your denominator, what do you get? You get the quotient value that is less than 1. Now see, look at this. Now see, let's say initially you are at P and you are here Q, P1 Q1. Okay, let's say prices changed to P2, but then your quantity changed to Q2. Now look at this. This is obviously larger than this, right? This is larger than this as compared to this, right? That is why inelastic demand curve will be not vertical, but the slope will be steep. It will be very steep. Okay. The third one, what is the third one? Unit elastic. Unit elastic is simple. Unit elastic मा के भन्दैछ हामीले? ED value 1 भन्दैछ है. That means your percentage change in quantity demanded is equals to percentage change in prices. हैन? त्यही त भनेको. अब कसरी ड्रा गर्ने हो? So you have something called a rectangular hyperbola. Okay, this becomes your quantity demanded, this becomes your price. So here if you see somewhat, you know, P1 Q1 P2 Q2, yeah, if you see this change is supposed to be equal to this. Okay, the percentage change in prices will trigger an equal amount of percentage change in quantity demanded. Okay, so that is that. This is number 3. Number 4, elastic demand. Right? अब elastic demand कसरी देखाउनु? Simple. Elastic demand क्या? Elastic demand हो, we say a demand is elastic when it is the ED value is more than 1. Price elasticity of demand value is more than 1. अब यो भने के हो? Percentage change in quantity demanded is more than your percentage change in prices. हैन? त्यही त, your numerator is more than your denominator. So यो चाहिँ हल्का कस्तो खालको हुन्छ? Slant खालको हुन्छ है. अब यो just look for yourself. P1 array, this becomes Q1. I'm sorry, P1A, then P2, Q2. So look at this, your price change यति छ, your price change यति भइरहेको छ, but then your quantity demanded change is huge as compared to your price change. Okay, so this is elastic demand. Okay, or number 4. Now perfectly elastic demand, so perfectly elastic demand, where ED value is infinity. Now perfectly elastic demand भनेको के हो भन्दाखेरि, for a small change in price, okay, your percentage change in quantity demanded is huge, okay, or even infinity for a small change in price. This is a very hypothetical concept, okay, real world मा हुँदैन पनि यस्तो, but you'll have to know. So how do you represent this? This is a horizontal line. Okay, as soon as your prices change, your change in quantity demanded is very huge, okay. So these are the different graphs for with respect to your different degrees of elasticity. Okay, so perfectly inelastic demand, unitary elastic demand. Fine. So how you can understand this is, if you have to like form a mental map thing. See, elasticity means it is the degree of responsiveness for a change in one variable to a change in another variable. Okay, so when you're talking about just prices and demand, you are saying elasticity is the degree of responsiveness of quantity, a change in quantity demanded of a commodity to change in prices. ना जब प्राइस चेन्ज हुँदैछ, क्वान्टिटी डिमान्डेड कतिले चेन्ज हुँदैछ, अब प्राइस चेन्ज कतिको प्राइस चेन्जले चाहिँ कतिको डिमान्ड चेन्ज ट्रिगर गर्दैछ. द्याट इज द आइडिया, price elasticity of demand. Okay, so measure of elasticity, the most famous one, or probably the one that's mentioned in your book, is percentage method. Basically percentage method के गर्छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ it is seeing it is a ratio of the percentage change in quantity demanded to percentage change in prices. Okay, कसरी खोज्छ यो, final value minus the initial value. Okay, and so all of that we did this yesterday, and you arrive at here. This is the elasticity value, you got 0.8. Okay, now this is your litmus test. Next to this value, I've given you a brief degrees of elasticity. Okay, so you see, is it equal to 0? No. Is it less than 1? Yes. That means your elasticity of demand, price elasticity of demand, is less than 1. Less than 1 meaning your numerator was less than the denominator, or in other words, your percentage change in quantity demanded, which was the numerator, is less than the percentage change in prices, which was the denominator. Okay, fine. And these are the graphs that we just talked about. Okay, now one thing is, where you're going to use this, okay? अब पढ्यो त पढ्यो होइन, खोज्यो सबै इलास्टिसिटीहरू खोज्यो, काम चाहिँ कहाँ लाग्छ अब होइन, त्यो थट त आउँछ नि त. So this plays a crucial role when a market is deciding its pricing strategy. Okay, अब भन्नु खोजेको चाहिँ के हो भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ, अब आउँदो च्याप्टरमा हुन्छ, there's a chapter called markets. Okay, now if I am a producer, okay, if I'm a producer and if I see, okay, now I'll first determine मेरो प्राइस इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड के छ मेरो कमोडिटीको. Okay, let's say I'm producing, I'm a producer, I'm a firm. Okay, this is a firm. Now what do I do? I find I you know more here. So my price elasticity of demand case, is it more than one or is it less than one? Okay, or is it equal to one? So accordingly I will set prices. Okay, now if I am a producer and if I see it is less than one, just like in the above example, what will I do? I'll increase the prices. I'll simply increase the prices. Why? Because the percentage change in quantity demanded is less than the percentage change in prices. Okay, so let's say a 20% increase in prices is triggering a 10% drop in quantity demanded. And drop in quantity demanded. So what I as a producer will do is I'll simply increase the prices, and that will increase my overall profits. Fine. You Most of the people, not most, fine, some of the people are leaving. Okay, some of the people don't want to consume my product at a higher percentage, but then there is a whole 90% which is still staying and consuming my product at a higher price. I know. So that means my profit is going to increase. So this happens in markets. Okay, the elasticity of demand, price elasticity of demand, has its significance in markets. Okay, this is mostly monopoly. Monopoly will do this. Okay, and this is a market which is called perfect competition. Fine. So yeah, I think this sums up everything. Okay, and there is something called there is factors affecting elasticity of demand, which I'm sure you'll be able to do it on your own. अर्को टपिक चाहिँ के थियो भन्दा नि which I wanted to discuss was cross elasticity of demand. Okay, next is cross elasticity. Now यसको लागि पनि you'll have to go back to your law of demand only. Law of demand मा के थियो? There were two types of goods, no? So related goods. There were two types of related goods. One was complementary. The other one is substitutes. Okay, complementary भनेको used together. Okay, substitutes भनेको replaces one another. Okay, now here what did we see? When the prices increased of let's say let's just say your prices, okay, your prices of y, if x and y are complements, then the prices of y increases, then what happens to your quantity demand of x? It decreases. Okay, car and petrol, if petrol prices increases, what happens to the demand for cars? It decreases, right? But then let's say x and y are substitutes. So when prices of y increases, what happens to the quantity demanded of x? It increases. है ना, ये तो. So this is the setup, okay, directional setup of when you're talking about related goods and you're talking about complementary goods, talking about substitute goods, right? Substitute मा चाहिँ let's say tea and coffee, the classic example. Cross elasticity of demandले यतिसम्म मात्रै भन्यो है, ए सरी, your law of demand just talked about this much only. Then comes your cross elasticity of demand. Our cross elasticity of demand ma again percentage method. So percentage method ma कसरी गर्छ? So your cross elasticity of demand is cross price elasticity of demand, okay? So percentage change in quantity demanded of X upon percentage change in prices of Y. Then you will again have to go back to your litmus test, this one. Okay, you'll have to see whether it's perfectly inelastic, whether the value is going towards 0 or is it less than 1, is it equal to 1, more than 1. Even there you see equals to percentage change quantity demanded of X upon percentage change in P of Y. Although elasticity negative है, I told you yesterday, right? We just ignore that sign. यहाँनिर चाहिँ नेगेटिभ होइन पोजिटिभ हुन्छ है ल, किन भन्दाखेरि सी लुक एट द डिरेक्सन, बोथ आर मुभिङ टुवर्ड्स मुभिङ इन द सेम डिरेक्सन, नो, त्यही कारण यो दिस बिकम्स पोजिटिभ, बट द्याट्स अ स्मल ट्रिभिया. So yeah, cross elasticity of demand भयो. Now another thing is this is your percentage method, right? There is another method of measuring elasticity of demand, okay, and it's called the geometric method, okay. Geometric method, okay. A geometric method मा बेसिक केही छैन. यहाँनिर तिम्रो क्वान्टिटी डिमान्डेड हुन्छ, यहाँनिर प्राइसेस हुन्छ है. अब लेट्स से दिस इज योर डिमान्ड कर्व. अब geometric method tells you your elasticity of demand is the lower part of demand curve upon the upper part of demand curve, okay. What do I mean by that? See, let's say you want to find the elasticity of demand here, okay. Now the lower part of demand curve becomes your numerator. That means this becomes your numerator and this becomes your denominator. Again, geometric method ma, how do we find elasticity of demand, price elasticity of demand? We simply look at the ratio of not value खोज्नु हुँदैन यहाँनिर, okay. It's just you're just trying to see whether it's less than 1 or more than 1, okay. Less than 1 कहिले हुन्छ? जब तिम्रो denominator is more, okay. More than 1 कहिले हुन्छ? जब तिम्रो numerator is more. So here if you see, for this point here, your numerator is much more than your denominator. Then when your numerator is much more than your denominator, then your ED value is going to be how much? More than 1. So यो तिम्रो के भयो यो पोइन्टमा? इलास्टिक डिमान्ड. यो पोइन्ट के भयो? Your numerator is, let's say, equal to your denominator. So at this point, let's say this is A, this is B. At point B, your numerator is equal to your denominator, then your ED is equals to 1. That means you have unit elastic demand. So understand this portion. This is important to understand, right? And you have to understand why are we doing this. Yoga, we're just trying to see whether the value is going to be less than 1, equal to 1, more than 1. Okay, why do we want to do that? Because we want to see whether it is elastic demand, right? And the subsequently supply elasticity score, there are different curves. Okay, and the different curves by પછી चाहिँ what are you why do we have to find the elasticity? Why are we so interested in elasticity? Why? Because it helps in, as a producer, it's going to help in pricing. Okay, my pricing strategy. So if the price elasticity of demand is less than 1, that means that my percentage change in prices is more than, sorry, my percentage change in quantity demanded is less than my percentage change in prices, or my percentage change in prices, the extent of my percentage change in prices triggers a lesser reaction from my quantity demanded. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to increase my prices. Why? Because even if 10% of the people they leave my product, there are 90% of the people who are going to consume at a higher price. Okay, so then obviously my profits are going to increase. But then if it is more than 1, if it's elastic, okay, when the price change is going to trigger a higher response, higher degree, higher percentage response from my quantity demanded, then obviously I'm not going to make the change. Okay, then cross elasticity of demand. So I think with this we've completed your elasticity of demand. Okay, next we'll be starting off with inflation.